The Doomslayer Deadeye has everything you want in a League starter. It has good clear speed, good boss damage, good survivability. It's capable of doing all content in the game, and the best part is you can do all of that on gear that you've found yourself. That means this build is SSF viable, and you're not going to have to trade because there are no expensive uniques that are being used. In fact, there's no uniques that are being used on this build up until about level 80 or 90 if you want to. This build also comes with a very detailed build guide that will help you from the riverbank all the way into the mid game and into the deep end game. Now, a bit of backstory, I played this build in SSF last league on a whim. I went in with no planning. I just thought I want to play grenades on a Deadeye, and because of that lack of planning, I thought this build's probably going to hit a wall at some point and just start sucking, but that just didn't ever happen. The build got better and better and better. Before I knew it, I was fighting the Arbiter, absolutely deleting it, and in patch 0.3, this build only got stronger, meaning that it should be an absolute beast this league. After clearing all content and tier 1 pinnacles on SSF, I decided to push it to the next level, swap to trade, and then test out the coming Calamity just to see what like an ultra endgame version of the build would feel like, and it performed way above expectations. From there, the build completed tier 4 Simulacrum comfortably. It did all the bosses, all maps, all content that I could think of. So if you're looking for a build that just has it all and has been thoroughly tested, has a great build guide, this is hands down going to be one of the best League starters for 0.3. I'm not going to spend half an hour explaining every single intricacy of this build to you. It's in the guide. I really encourage you to just read it. It won't take that long. But let's go over some of the important things with this build. So main thing is we are using explosive grenade primarily, and then we're using explosive shot to manually detonate all of our grenades. We're actually using most of the grenades in the game. This is my leveling version, level 43. So running ahead, shoot your grenade and they explode. Then we can also throw in gas grenade, which will bounce and then explode, which we can then shoot, and then that explodes, mainly just using that for bosses. And then also flash grenade to stun enemies. And another one is oil grenade. This we can use to strip away the fire resistance of bosses. Just a note, oil grenade is really laggy. You'll see my FPS just tanks, especially against bosses if you use a couple of these things. So I hope you've got a decent CPU, because this is pretty gross. Later on, we introduced cluster grenades for a little bit of additional clear, and then also voltaic grenade to add some electrocute to further pin down bosses. Well, not pin down, but electrocute them. Now, one other thing that's important with this build is just positioning. We are playing this like a close combat, toe-to-toe kind of build, because we're making use of not only close combat, which gives us more attack damage to enemies within 1 meter of us, scaling down to no bonus at 3.5 meters, but also we're using this point blank on the Deadeye. Projectiles deal 20% more hit damage to targets in the first 3.5 meters of their movement, scaling down with distance traveled to reach 0% after 7 meters. So by staying close to monsters, we're getting a lot of benefit out of just that toe-to-toe combat, which is preferable. You can instead, when you do this ascendancy, you can pick far shot, which does the opposite, where things deal more damage the further away they are, and then you swap out this to long shot. That will allow for a more distance playstyle, but I've found that that's a little bit more awkward. Let me just show you what a boss looks like on this. We just dump grenades, shoot them, and the guy gets exploded. This is obviously a low tier boss, but gives you an idea. So just using all the grenades and then shooting them to explode. Let's go over some of the important things while leveling. Again, check the build guide. All the information is in there, but I must stress this. I highly recommend muling a mercenary, which means what you're going to do is you're going to, before you make your ranger, because we're playing on Deadeye, you're going to first make a mercenary. You're going to run that mercenary through the first area, the riverbank, kill the bloated miller, and then you're going to pick up his drops, sell this stuff to Renly, and then you're going to get a gem from him, turn that into explosive grenade. You want to put that crossbow and that explosive grenade into your stash, and then you're going to pick a ranger. That takes all of about 2 minutes. So don't get turned off by the idea of muling, but it does mean that on our ranger, not only are we guaranteed a crossbow to start instead of a bow, it also means that we enter the first area of the game after Clearfill encampment with 2 skill gems. So we'll have explosive grenade and then contagion. Something important is to make use of your basic crossbolt attack. It is very strong. You're also going to have to pay attention to the positioning of your grenade when you shoot it out. So you're going to kind of shoot it ahead of you, and then you're going to lure monsters in behind you so that the explosion happens on the monsters as they're chasing you. This is something that takes a little bit of practice, but it's not that hard. Adding in contagion also just improves the clear. It does some chaos damage over time, and then when a monster with contagion dies, that will spread throughout the pack of monsters that are nearby. Early on, that's what we're using. Later on, we're going to transition into some more crossbow skills, and then by around level 22 to 25, we're going full grenade mode. One other very important thing is to really pay attention to your weapon. If your weapon is bad, you're going to deal no damage and have a horrible time. Try to make sure that you are upgrading your weapon at a reasonable pace. New base types with higher damage become available every few levels. It's listed in the guide, so just take note of that. And if you feel like you're doing no damage, it's almost certainly because your weapon is bad. Often vendors can sell you a decent weapon if you're not getting the drop. And then I also recommend saving some of your more valuable currencies like Orbs of Alchemy, Exalts, Regals, and nextly also Essences, and then the bones that allow you to desecrate mods onto items. Prioritize those for weapons and weapon upgrades. Really cannot stress it enough. If your weapon is bad, you are going to have a terrible time. That is true for most classes in this game, but especially any attack-based class. Going over just a few of the buffs that we got this league on this build. Firstly, crossbow reload no longer has a movement speed penalty. That is going to make the build feel a fair bit smoother to play. Also, there is no support gem limitation. That was I wouldn't say a problem, but it's definitely something that I noticed while playing, in that there were so many of these grenade skills that I was like, man, I wish I could have that, but I couldn't. So this will just deal way more damage on single target because we'll have more premium support gems on the various supplementary skills. Other thing is lineage gems in the endgame. We haven't seen all of them, but they should be a damage increase and also provide some kind of way to further scale our damage even more than we already could in the endgame. Additionally, we should be getting updates on the tree. There's also improved crafting, which should make the campaign experience smoother and maybe even the endgame itemization a bit more powerful. We're also getting deflect. So with deflect, we're getting a lot of mitigation that the build was previously missing. So not only are we going to have super high evasion rating, but if we can scale deflect, we should have a lot of mitigation, which should make this build feel really tanky. And it's a Deadeye. Deadeyes are fast. Deadeyes deal lots of damage. Deadeye is just good. By the way, I was going to play Deadeye before everyone else, so don't think I'm just jumping on the meta train. I was going to do it first. Let's quickly go over the strengths and weaknesses of the build. Probably the biggest weakness, I would say, for the build is just personal choice. It's a playstyle thing. Some people really despise this sort of playstyle where there is a delay between your damage output and your attack, or rather your attack and your damage output. So with this, you shoot out your grenades, then you shoot your grenades to explode them. Some people do not like that. Give it a try, maybe level it through the campaign or the first couple of acts and see how you feel about it. It is an extremely satisfying build. So if you do like that playstyle, it's kind of similar to traps for people who play traps in PoE 1. It's a very similar playstyle where there's a little bit of delay, but then there is just like massive explosions. That's probably the only really big downside I can think of. Other than that, the build is it's super well rounded. It's really cheap. There's no competition for gear. It's got good single target, good clear. It's very fast. It's tanky. It's going to be tankier next league. So I cannot recommend this build more highly. So that's going to be it. Remember, everything is up on Mobalytics. Don't forget, if you do have a Mobalytics account, You can favorite this build, which will help you find it more easily and also pushes the build up in the rankings. Another great thing I forgot about this build is it is like the perfect backup plan build. If you end up playing a Deadeye build and it's just not that good, or it just ends up being way too expensive because it's too popular, hop on this, give it a try. I promise you, you will have a good time. So even if this isn't your number one pick, keep it in your back pocket for my Deadeye build is too expensive, help, what do I do? Oh, and also I upgraded my CPU. I didn't steal Windows, but it has forgotten that I own Windows, so that's why that's over there. That's it. Have a wonderful day. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be playing on League Start, and I will catch you live on 0.3 League Start. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Catch you in the next video, and bye-bye.